So that was a flop. But while we were doing this and we're documenting, trying to get people to go to the games, we did get some people to go. We're tweeting and mentioning the Florida Panthers as we go along. Hey, we're trying to get involved. They catch wind of it because we're continually tweeting at them, tweeting their management. The minute we became season ticket holders, we started demanding unruly trades. They didn't do them, obviously. We went through and we're tweeting at them. They caught wind of it, and they actually invited us down for a game. They invited us down for a game. We go down, we get the whole 9 yards. We're in the owner's box, we're free drinks, free food. Remember, I'm a college senior. Like, this is like blowing my mind. I love it. After this is all said and done, we come back, we write the story. And we put the story up online, and we go and we contact, and we start tweeting it out to editors at Sports Illustrated, ESPN, CBC, you name it. We went and tweeted it. I go to bed, I don't think anything of it. The next morning I wake up, we are featured in ESPN, Sports Illustrated. We're on local and national news coverage. I'm like, okay, so this thing's taken a world to its own. Once again, I go to class, not thinking anything of it. Okay, cool, we had a story, people liked it. That's fantastic. My aunt stops me like a week later. I tell her how many views the post has, everything. The comments, it's dominating like the hockey Reddit forums. I say, I show her what I've done. She said, do you know, she's in PR. She said, do you know what you've done? Like what that's worth? I don't know. She's like, a brand would have paid upwards of $250,000 for that exposure. What? I have $250 in my account. What do you mean $250,000? I couldn't believe it. So it clicked for me right there. One, brands will pay for this exposure. Two, if you can craft a story and connect with people and be social on social media, people will then share your content, share your brand, and drive eyeballs through to you. So this was the starting point. It clicked, and we quickly transformed into a marketing agency helping businesses do this, essentially, craft and do their stories, run their ads, et cetera. So this is the context as we get into it. I want to talk for about 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and open it up for questions so you guys can fire away with any specific question you have, doesn't matter. So why do we do this? Why do we do social? Can I get one person? Is it cat pictures? Is it to get for the likes? We doing it for the likes? Connection. We're doing it to connect with people. And why we want to connect with people is because would you guys agree that people generally do business with people that they like? Right? Like we're on here, it's fun, but this has to make money too at some point. There has to be part of our marketing matrix that comes back and makes money. So if we can get real connections with people and scale these connections one-to-one, ultimately it's going to correlate to our business growth. This is why we do it. These connections are everything. But before we have that, I want to talk about zero right here. And this is a really important word to me. The first part is there is zero barrier to entry in this game. If you want to do social media, sign up for a Pinterest account. Sign up for a Twitter account. Start going. People put up these artificial walls all the time. Oh, I don't have the time. I don't have bullshit. You got the time. You got the access. Go to it. The next thing we see, and why zero is so important to me, is zero engagement. Who here feels like their pages aren't being engaged with? Raise your hand. Like you're just posting content and it's kind of not working, and you're posting, right? It feels like it, right? Yeah. And you're sitting there and you're like, what the hell did I do? Well, the biggest crime being committed on social media right now is not being social. If you're just posting and scheduling your stuff out twice a day and that's all you're going to do, you've become a banner ad on a website or a banner on the side of the highway. People just scroll by you, they see you, they don't engage. You have to be on it, you have to be real time, and you have to connect with people. There's this movie, right? You guys have all seen Field of Dreams, Kevin Costner, young, strapping Kevin Costner, great film. And he's told, hey, if you build it, they will come. And he's hearing voices, and we should have known he lost it at that point. But he goes and he builds this giant baseball field. And he pretty much runs, his family broke building this baseball field. And then at the end of the movie, they pan out, and there's a lineup of cars, and he's like sold out, and everyone's coming to watch this baseball game at his house. That's not how social media works. Yet that's how 90% of marketing departments approach it. We're just going to build the accounts, we're going to start posting, and we want to see traction. That is not how we make social media social. We need to be able to scale one-to-one relationships. So what I want to do is look at 3 actionable ways for you guys right now to scale and start to actually build these connections. The first, Facebook. I'm going to tell you what not to do. If you invite me to Candy Crush, I don't care if you're my mother, you are getting unfriended, okay? However, as a business page, what you can do, if you're starting out and you don't have an audience, hijack somebody else's audience. Look to somebody who shares a customer base with you and is not a competitor, okay? You're a plumber, look at him, look at an electrician. Look at some local news site. Look at who is killing it on social, and when they put up their thing on 5 tips for whatever, living in or owning a boat in Victoria, come in with the 6th or 7th tip in the comment section. Write it out of that post, acting as your business. There's already a conversation going on in that person's comment thread. Go in, reply to other people. People are going to be like, whoa, that business is talking like a human being? That's amazing, because it's humans on each side of this thing, right? I hate this like B2C, B2B lingo. It's person to person every day, all the time. There's a person on the other end of that screen. Talk to them like that. We look at Twitter, okay? I would rather punch myself in the face than get an auto DM, okay? There's nothing more inauthentic than if I follow you and you send me an auto DM, I'm unfollowing you faster. And I want to say this in like a comparison. Any of you guys at Christmas get a Merry Christmas blanket text from somebody? Yeah, it makes you feel real special, right? Yeah, that's what that is. Tweet at them, spend 3 seconds, tweet at them. Unless you're Kim Kardashian, you have time to tweet at people. What you can do instead with Twitter, who here has used Twitter search to find people that are talking about your industry? Okay, about half the room. So I think this is the most underutilized and best feature in social. Go into the Twitter search bar, and you can type, say you own a pet food company. You can go in and type and say it's in Detroit. I love my dog, Detroit. New puppy, Detroit. See every single person who's in Detroit and is talking about their new puppy. Would those be great people to connect with and maybe send a free month of dog food to? Yes, this is how we build connections. Doesn't have to be huge, but this is where you can find your niche and find people talking about your niche. This is, get in there, get in the conversation. Another thing on Twitter, look for Twitter talks. Twitter talks are hashtags. They happen usually once a week, once a month, whatever the schedule is, and they'll be around your industry or around your town. They're a great way to facilitate discussion and engagement. Last, who here has got an endorsement on LinkedIn for Microsoft Word? Guys, it's like a participation medal. Nobody cares how many times you're endorsed for Microsoft Word. Instead, don't endorse somebody for something. If you get that thing, go to their LinkedIn page and write a recommendation. Write a real recommendation, because when you do that, a couple things happen. One, that other person that you worked with that knows you in some capacity gets feeling warm and fuzzy whenever they see that message, and now you've got a stronger connection with that person. It's the same way where, if your best friend calls you and you see that on the caller ID, you feel pretty good before you answer the phone, right? But if Rogers is calling you, or TELUS, you're like, oh my God, here we go, right? We want to instill this great positive feeling, and we can do that when we set together with recommendations. So those are 3 things I would say. Take those, and you can start to do those. You can spend 10 minutes a day. You can do those. That's totally fine. When it comes to social and more grand scale, and everybody here has varying followings, from I'm sure 5 followers to 5,000, 50,000, whatever you have. Your audience is everything. Your audience is not everyone. One of the biggest mistakes we see, I'll sit down with executives. Okay, who's your target audience? Oh, we want to sell to everyone. Bullshit. Your target audience has to be 25 to 35-year-olds in this subsector who are focused on, purchasing a home or have dogs and want dog food, whatever it may be. Define your audience. Then, go to where they are, guys. You need to move with your audience, okay? I come to these conferences and I love it, but who went to a conference in the last year and was told that if you're not on Snapchat, your business is gonna die? What a load of crap, right? Like, you can be on anything. It's a matter of where your audience is. If you're selling to 45 to 65-year-olds, which have the highest purchasing power, Snapchat's a waste of time. If you have somebody who has the resources to do it, 100% do it. For you small business owners here, I think the biggest thing you guys can do, don't worry about getting involved with everything, but be paying attention, right? Be paying attention and saying like, okay, I think the Snapchat thing's gonna take off, and then hop in and try it out and really go for it. Because at a certain point, right, you can't hit a home run in the game if you don't step on the field. You gotta get in the game, but you can't spread yourself too thin, okay? So look at where your audience is. You gotta move with your audience. Before, they were on the radio. Then they went to TV, so we went with commercials. Then they were Google Ads. Now it's Facebook. Now Instagram's probably the best bang for your buck. Like, you gotta duck and weave, move with them as they go from platform to platform, you gotta go with them, okay? Also, when they see you on platform to platform, it instills your brand. Look, Pepsi and Coke, every time I drive home and I see a Coca-Cola sign on the side of the road, I don't go across 4 lanes of traffic and get to the next 7-Eleven and buy one. But the next time I'm in a 7-Eleven and I'm thirsty, I might. That's what you have to do when you're on all of these platforms. Whatever business you're in, we don't know where that person is in the sales cycle. It's about branding and awareness. And have you guys seen this before? On Facebook, somebody's promoting a product or something, and you see a person has tagged their friend in the comments. That businesses should be commenting, messaging that person, hey, would you like 10% off? Starting that conversation with that person. There's an opportunity there. Those are people who are saying like, hey, an endorsement from a friend, you should look at this product, you should get this. That's an opportunity for you to take a conversation and turn that person into a customer. When it comes to social media as a whole, and we saw this look at me, the diagram there, and I think a lot of businesses, they get on this like, look at me, I'm so great, like I'm posting about me, look at our products. Nobody cares. Like that's how you get muted. If you're a plumber, are you gonna show a bunch of dirty toilets? Like, no, you're gonna show your work culture, you're gonna show your employees, you're gonna show people that make what your company what it is. If you're able to go and give value to these people on social, and I mean give value in terms of, it could be entertainment. It could be, hey, these are the top, these are 20 interesting bathrooms through history. And you could write a blog post and put that on social and show how they did Roman times all the way to now. Whatever your industry is. Give value. Become this trusted resource on social media. That's where, if you can go in, or if people have questions, you better respond to those questions. I bet every person in this room has an Instagram post that somebody has commented on and you didn't comment back. If 7 people comment on your Instagram post, you need to respond to every single one. Because not only is it going to affect the algorithm, it's going to affect how they think about your business and how they talk about your business offline. This is what's important, right? We want to take this, it's word of mouth marketing, it's online, but people go to a dinner party tonight and there's going to be more intense, more intimate conversations. Look, I'm telling you not to post on social and just shout your message, and that's because it doesn't work as well. The same reason I'm here right now talking to you guys, we have 100 people. Sure, you might think it's a great opportunity. The real opportunity with this is afterwards at that networking event where we're all talking and getting to know each other. You guys get to see the stage version of me, which is abrasive, but afterwards, this is where we're going to be able to actually build connections. Take that approach to social media. Don't get caught up on this like, I need to go viral, I need 50,000. Who here's put up a post, maybe you link back to your website and you got 100 clicks through, 50 clicks, 40 clicks? Raise your hand. And who felt like, that's not a lot? It's okay, right? Oh, only 30 people saw my thing. It is insane that 50 people stopped their day to give you attention and to read your stuff. If I said, I've had people, oh, we only get 100 reads per blog post. Okay. If I told you you could go down to the local auditorium today and have 100 people listen to your talk, would that excite you? Oh, yeah, I would. What's the difference? This is the opportunity that we have when we put on social. Like, don't get neglected by small numbers. Engage one-to-one, scale one-to-one relationships. Yes, it's a grind, without a doubt. It's 100% a grind. You can't you see these articles, do social media in 30 minutes a week. Bullshit, okay? This is something that takes serious work. You can do it though, set mental reminders. I do it every time I'm in line for a coffee, I tweet. That way I'm still, active, I'm going. Set little reminders like that. Check the hashtags. Look at, is it National Pizza Day? Okay, go get a slice, take a bite and a selfie. It's not that hard. Let's be involved in the active conversation right now. How many people have seen something, a tragedy happens? A tragedy happens in the world, and then somebody's scheduled Motivation Monday, Feel So Great post goes up. Taking something out of the scheduler is sometimes just as powerful as scheduling or as posting, right? Let's look at every single day how we can be in the conversation and the relevant conversation. Use the hashtags, break down to the local, figure it out. It's one of these things where if we take the time and you're always active on it and you're able to show what's going behind the screens or behind the scenes, you're gonna see the reward. And what this comes down to is when you do this and you talk to people and you can provide value, you get their attention. When you can get their attention consistently, you get influence. And when you have influence, you have the ability to sell them. This is what we need with our business page. Give value, you get attention, you get attention. Now we come in with an offer. Now we say join our email list where we give an exclusive deal, whatever. Right? We still have to have a business aspect to this. It's not just we can't be social media purists. We have to have something on the back end, whether it's customer service or some product promotion, what have you. We got to get their attention by giving them attention. You know how to make somebody feel warm and fuzzy? Go on their Twitter account and tweet at them first. Interact with their last tweet. Because the average person's probably got 100 followers. You can go through and now they're going to feel warm and fuzzy. They're going to see what you're about. And when it comes to strategy, and this is, there's this saying in sales, you don't sell a drill, you sell the hole it creates. United Airlines doesn't sell a flight, it sells, bad example. No, if you're a real estate agent, you're not selling the house, you're not selling the move, nobody likes that. But what people love is the idea of the happy life on the other side of the move. Their kids growing up, the backyard party you're gonna throw, the school down the road that they're gonna go to, the sports team. That's what we're selling on social. That's what we're going after. How do people use your product? What enjoyment does it give them, right? Let's look at that when we craft our message. We see this, and this is where we can go with it. Every industry has something that is interesting. There are no boring industries. I sat down with a moving company, one of the biggest moving companies in Canada. We sat down and I go in there and the CEO of the company is, kind of like the man's man guy. And he's like, Jordan, we're a moving company and this is real boring. It's just bad. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes moving. I was like, well, yeah, sure, people don't like packing up moving couches downstairs. I would agree with you there. But once again, people like where they're going or they want to know where the best place to retire in Alberta is. So looking at this, how you can provide value outside of the actual product and bring that to facilitate conversation because people don't want to talk about your product, right? But they might want to talk to you or the issue that they're having that your product may or may not solve. So with that, we got through that pretty quick. I do want to open it up because, look, I want this to be social. I want to hear your guys' questions and how we can, if I can answer them or if I can't, maybe I can give you a resource that can. But I would really like to make this part of the talk social and kind of a conversation. If you have a specific question, don't worry. Somebody else probably has the exact same question. So do we have any?
Wondering if you believe that can the same post have the same value across different That works for, do you actually change the language or change the way that you?
Okay. Well, I would say this to you. Do you dress the same to go to the bar on Friday as you would to go to the bank to get a loan? No. If we look at it like this, okay, Twitter is the dance floor. Things are happening quickly. The conversation is changing every minute and a half. So we have to have a message that can change really quickly. Facebook's like a sit-down restaurant. We can have a little bit more of a conversation, right? LinkedIn is the bank down the road. You don't go there unless you need something. No. And then Instagram is the first week of college. So this is one of these things where, and I mean, when we look at crafting the message, right? Who here thinks that, like, you know, Instagram is for kids or for the younger generation? Raise your hand. If you think Instagram or Snapchat is something like, that's for the kids. Right? Okay. Who here 10 years ago on Facebook said, I'll never get one of those? Right? You got to take your message from platform to platform and, yes, make it specific. And know the nuances. There's another thing with the user experience. If I follow you on multiple channels and I see what you put on Facebook and then I go to Twitter and it's the exact same thing, or it's like a tweet that has a link to the Facebook page and it's half the characters and stuff, like, now that's redundant to me and it's not, you know, it's not really fitting with, I went to Twitter for a different experience. I want a different message. Oh, it's right there. Yeah.
Hi. You spoke about being interactive, but can that be like so much that you reduce the amount of different platforms you're on, or do you just say, okay, I'm just going to focus on answering questions on Twitter, you know, because if you're going to be answering, you know, responding to comments, what happens if it starts to grow? How do you manage?
So I would say this. There's two parts to this. One, if your audience is there, you should be there, right? If your potential customer is there. Two, it's better not to have an account on that platform than to have one that you can't manage. Because if I go on Twitter, like, you go to like Old Spice Twitter account, it's a mess. You go on and there's like, they haven't tweeted in a year. And sure, Old Spice is a major brand, but if it's Jim and Joe's Pizza and they haven't tweeted in a year, I might think they're closed, right? So do what you can handle, but the answer is be where your customers are, right? So yes, I don't think you have to go on every social media platform that there is. There's a million to keep up with. It would take a lifetime to do them all. Cool. Any others? Yeah.
Hello. I'm working in an industry that a lot of our customer base would be sort of 50, 60 plus. Do you have any suggestions how to reach out to that market?
100%. So has anybody here, okay, who here is in like the 25 to 35 demo? Remember how you used Facebook 10 years ago? Posting, going crazy, tagging people, all this stuff? That 45, 55, 65 demo is doing that now. Not all, but my mother and her friends are like, they're tagging each other, showing pictures, and I'm like, Mom, like, our generation, we don't want to put stuff on Facebook anymore that's personal. We want to get our news, comment with businesses. So if I was going after that demographic, I would look at Facebook because it is the fastest growing demographic on Facebook.
Hi. Yeah, you talked about hijacking somebody else's audience. Is there a way on Facebook to find out everybody who likes Trailer Park Boys, to find that audience, or everybody who likes some other movie or a record, or is there a way to tap into that? So,
yes. This is going to take a paid organic blend. So what I would do, two things you can do. If everyone likes Trailer Park Boys, you can go in Facebook ads, target people in your demo that like Trailer Park Boys. And you can just do it pure, eat what you kill. It's conversion-based marketing. That's fine. The other thing I would do, get in every single Trailer Park Boys. They all have the fan clubs and stuff. So not only get on the Trailer Park Boys, their Facebook page and their Twitter, all these fan clubs, they might have like 4,000 or 5,000 people. You can get their attention. You can message the page. You can message the page and they might share some of your content if it's relevant to it. Like when we started the blog, I was literally messaging musicians, artists, people with hundreds of thousands of fans, I go on their Facebook page and message them, hey, I'm Jordan, I'm a university student, I'd like to interview you. You know how many people are like, yeah, sure. The pages with 4,000 or 5,000, look, going at the stars, they're getting people tweeted at them all the time. The show, I'm not sure how many followers it has, probably a couple 100,000, right? They're getting a lot of tweets. But those fan clubs, or going into, I'm sure Trailer Park Boys follows 50 people. I'd go make friends with those 50 people that they follow. Any other questions? Yep.
Appreciate your thoughts on reaching out to different ethnic groups and whether there's preferences, particularly with First Nations in BC.
Thoughts on reaching out. I mean, I think with that, you have to know how your business and your product fits in with each ethnic group and the leaders in those communities, and how you can best facilitate a constructive conversation around your product and there. That's something where the conversation is going on social about the issues. I mean, I'll talk to you after if you have a more specific about your industry. I could definitely probably give some more insight in how to get that communication going. Who was first?
Do you have any advice about how to use social media to do customer validation in terms of segmenting your customer segment? And what would be a successful, right? Like, I'll give you an example. So I'm building a volunteer management system, and I have Facebook ads, that I target a particular audience, and I get, say, 1%.
Okay.
Is that good? Like, what am I looking at?
So industry standard for Facebook ads, you want to target between 2 and 5%. Anything above 5% for conversion you're killing it. So look at this, right? I think if you're doing Facebook ads and lead acquisition through that, if you're at 1%, Facebook's going to give you a relevance score in the ads. And if your relevance score, you might have the great ad and great copy, but it could be just targeted at the wrong group. So the relevance might be like a 3 out of 10, meaning it's not really hitting the audience you're trying to get. 5, 6, okay, better. But you want to look to get that around that 8 mark. And this just comes with continual testing and playing with it. And then building people into, lead funnels, getting them to click through to an Unbounce page. If you guys haven't heard of Unbounce, they're great for creating landing pages. It's just unbounce.com. You can create custom lead capture pages. We use that with a ton of clients.
I'm wondering if you have thoughts about keeping a cohesive brand voice or brand identity across all the different networks while maintaining the spontaneity and the authenticity of the one-to-one connections.
100%. So this is where the scheduled posts come in. Your brand voice, it has to be consistent from when I meet you here and get your business card, that feeling that you give me, you're a representation of the brand today for your company. When I meet you afterwards, you're a representation. You're going to make me feel warm and fuzzy. I'm going to like it. We're going to have a positive discussion. If I go on social, I want to have that same feeling, right? You're a representation of that. You're a representation of that on every single platform. And look, I see a lot of companies, they do things like Prince. Prince passed away. It's not your business's job. Sometimes just stay to the sidelines, right? You might lose brand voice. It's like picking things that you're reacting to. Sometimes they're not always the best to jump in. I think the spontaneity and having one-to-one conversations are a great way to build those emotional connections. But then your outward promotional materials that you put out and scheduled stuff, your brand manager, whoever at your business will be like, okay, that's what we're about. So setting an editorial calendar. There are a lot of programs out there. I know Trello has been mentioned in some of the talks this morning. It's great. But just getting some sort of, hey, especially if you're going to hand off your social to anybody else, they're going to need guidelines. Like, we've seen disaster after disaster with local bars when they let the busboy do the social media. That's literally putting your brand in somebody else's hands. The same way like United, the minute they called those guys onto the plane, the Chicago service, whatever, who assaulted that guy, like, now United is represented by the Chicago Aviation Security's actions. So you want to make sure that, whoever you empower, make sure they're talented and they have a firm understanding of the brand. Any other questions? How much time do we got? I got 10, 15 minutes. Okay, I will be around hanging out outside. So if you guys want to come, any specific questions, don't hesitate. Come see me, fire away. I'll be around. All right, guys, thank you so much.